Eden. Dr. Friedrich Ritter and his partner Dora Strauch flee their native Germany in 1929, rejecting the materialistic values they believe are weak in humankind's true nature. On the island of Floriana, part of the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador, Friedrich hopes to focus on writing his manifesto, while Dora turns to meditation to treat her multiple sclerosis. Back in Germany, Ritter's name begins to appear in countless mainland letters, lauding his resilience and the paradise he's built. Inspired by these, Heinz Wittmer, a civil servant, arrives on the island with his tuberculosis-stricken son Harry and his pregnant second wife Margaret, dutiful and skeptical, but composed. They try to be friendly, but their assumptions crumble when they meet the antisocial Ritter and Dora. Ritter commandeers Dora's pet donkey to carry the Whitmers to a remote cave and asks them to settle there. The location, deep in a dense forest, lacking everything but a drinkable water source that still requires excavation, is a deliberate move, yet the Whitmers prove to be capable and earnest settlers, building a modest life from bare survival. Pushed far from Ritter and Dora, they adjust to their conditions while the original couple attempt to engage in calculated, breath-focused intimacy, only to be interrupted by the arrival of a ship. Out steps Eloise Bosquet, a self-described baroness and embodiment of perfection, arriving with two loyal lovers, an Ecuadorian servant, evening gowns, and plans for a luxury hotel. Her lovers, one an engineer, the other a bodyguard, join her in a threesome in the ocean before she visits Ritter and Dora. Ritter greets her and directs her to the cave with the water. There she bathes with her engineer in the Wittmer's pond. Stepping out, she hands Heinz a bundle of letters, some for Ritter. Heinz delivers them, only to be told by Ritter that Eloise had already visited him and deliberately withheld the letters to sow discord. Heinz confronts the Baroness, who claims it was Ritter who pointed her to his home, implying he wanted neighborly strife. She reiterates her vision of building a luxury hotel. Elsewhere on higher ground, the Wittmers construct a modest but strong stone house. Ritter notices this, impressed by their competence, but disappointed in himself, his will to live, dismissed by Dora as tragically misaligned. Yet Eloise and her companions camp near the Whitmers again, becoming their neighbors. When canned food runs out, Eloise walks into the woods and befriends teenage Harry, who is collecting firewood. One day Heinz goes hunting, and Harry follows. Back home, Margaret's water breaks. Alone and afraid, she cries out for help. The Baroness and her men who hear her stay deliberately silent in their camp. As Margaret begins labor, Robert, the Baroness's lover, and a servant sneak in to steal oatmeal cans from the Whitmers, hiding in the house instead of offering help. Amid feral dogs and chaos, Margaret delivers her baby quietly. Heinz returns, cuts the umbilical cord, and fetches a reluctant Ritter to help with the placenta. This unexpected collaboration disappoints Eloise. When a servant expresses disapproval of her cruelty, she fires him. Rudolph, the engineer lover, starving and desperate, seeks food at the Whitmers' house. He confesses that Eloise is no baroness, but a broke, spiraling ex-cabaret dancer who invented her persona. He also admits he stuck with her out of lust. Soon after, Alan Hancock, a wealthy amateur scientist and Hollywood benefactor, visits the island. He brings canned food and supplies, emotionally overwhelming Ritter. During a hosted dinner for all, Eloise tries seducing Alan, but he publicly dismisses her charade, calling her performance a parody. He leaves the island. Eloise then devises a scheme to turn Ritter and Dora against the Whitmers by hiding Dora's donkey in their bushes, prompting Heinz to shoot it unknowingly. Dora is distraught. Ritter and Heinz confront Rudolph and learn the full scope of Eloise's manipulation. Heinz, now firmly choosing sides, arms himself and joins Ritter to confront her at her camp. Robert comes out first, triggering a physical fight that ends in a fatal duel. Heinz stabs and kills him. Eloise emerges and tries to bribe the men with offers of a hotel ownership. Ritter shoots her in the head. They dump both bodies into the sea. Margaret, collecting grass with Harry and baby Rolf, hears the distant gunshot. Later, Rudolph visits the Whitmers and claims the Baroness left by ship, showing them a letter. But Margaret and Dora sense deceit. Eloise's belongings remain untouched in her camp. Even Ritter pretends to be suspicious, making Heinz increasingly uncomfortable. Margaret confronts Heinz about his loaded rifle, suspecting Ritter may frame them for murder. Her instincts prove right. Ritter sends a letter to the mainland accusing Heinz. Meanwhile, Rudolph sells off Eloise's possessions, some to Ritter and the Whitmers, the rest to a shipman, before fleeing the island. Dora, disillusioned by Ritter's descent into cruelty, confronts him. In response, he violently yanks out her tooth with pliers. Later, Margaret offers Dora healthy chickens, knowing hers are infected. Dora refuses. Margaret pleads with her to pick the moral side, warning that Ritter is growing monstrous. Dora insists Ritter is a visionary incapable of violence. But in quiet retaliation, she poisons him by feeding him infected chicken. Mainland police arrive in Floriana following Ritter's letter, only to find him dead. They interrogate the Whitmers, ready to arrest Heinz. Margaret, however, presents a clever, measured account of both deaths and persuades them with calm logic. Instead, the police arrest Dora. When asked if the Whitmers want to leave, Margaret refuses. "This is home," she says. Margaret lived in Floriana until her death in 2000 at the age of 96, and her descendants still live there. Dora, upon returning to Germany, wrote a book about her experiences. Margaret wrote a rebuttal shortly after. Rudolph and the sailor he fled with never reached Isabella. The Baroness and Robert's bodies were never found.